Doom, 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 doom. What up, my guys? Welcome to another show, man. Late night NBA talk with Jay. Give you guys some early NBA picks for tomorrow's card. I got a spot is moving heavily right now. If you once again, if you listen to the shows, you already know what I'm liking. Team coming off of overtime and back to back playing the fast paced Pacers team as well. You should already know what I'm on, guys. I am on the Clippers as my top spot of the game of the day for tomorrow. Lines moving up to 6. I believe there is still a 5.5 out there at Bet Online, but I'm on the Clippers as the play of the day for tomorrow, guys. But finna go through every game, finna let you know how I'm thinking on these games, and I'm finna get out of here, my guys. Let's go over here to the streets of Boston in this one. First game up, Celtics land 4.5 points at the house versus the Phoenix Suns in this one. No Porzingis, no Jaylen Brown as well. You're going to see the Celtics start to rest some guys as they get ready for this championship run. And this is a spot where they did just beat the Suns. They beat them 117-107. It was a 5-point game late in the game. It was 107-102. It was a 5-point game late in that one. Then the Celtics just end up making Suns missing shots. Suns make Celtics making some shots. They end up covering the 5.5 there. So they were laying 5.5 on the road. Now they're laying 4.5 at the house. Now, obviously, the Celtics team can absolutely ball, but this is a spot that I don't want the Celtics. I'm not sure if I'm going to take the Suns. I do heavily lean their way. It's really tough to go against the Celtics, even in spots where they got a back-to-back third game in 4 nights playing in high altitude and resting some guys. They still go out there and smack the Jazz up and go on a 20-0 run. That's the Celtics. You never know when they're going to turn shit on. They end up winning that game by 16 in a horrible spot. But this is also another horrible spot for the Celtics. Coming from Utah, only 1 day of rest as well. Third game in 4 nights, fourth game in 6 nights for the Celtics. I will not be laying 4.5 points with the Celtics here. I actually heavily lean to the Suns here, especially with Brown and Porzingis out as well. Celtics still have a great team. They still, you could still say they're probably even still a better team than the Suns as well, but it's just not a great spot. First game back at the house after a 5-game road trip. I wouldn't be a bit surprised if the Celtics lost this game outright. Obviously, there's going to be some spots there that they're going to have a letdown for the rest of the season, and I think this could be one of them. If you wait, I don't see the line going down more towards the Suns, so if you like the Suns, you could possibly wait, but I heavily lean towards Suns here, plus a 4.5. Not many times that I'd like to bet against the Celtics, but this is a spot that I think that they might not come out with they could come out flat as a pancake in this particular game. After this, they got 2 easy wins as well versus the Wizards, versus the Pistons, and then they play a big game versus the Bucks as well. So especially saying that this is an Eastern Conference opponent, a Western Conference opponent that they already beat, the Celtics might just kind of come out here lollygagging. There's multiple fade spots here. Third game in 4 nights, fourth and 6. That's 1. Then first game back home off of a 5-game West Coast road trip. That's 2. And then the fact that this is a revenge spot for the Suns as well. And the line is kind of telling us that the Suns really have a chance to win this games. Celtics, once they get hitting from 3, it's really tough to beat them. But I wouldn't be a bit surprised if the Suns won this game outright, guys. They are starting to put things together, starting to play a lot better defense. Only 2-8 against the spread in their last 10 games, but they have won 3 of the last 4. Depending on what line you got versus the Cavs, depending on what line you got. If you got the early line, they covered the spread, but they didn't cover that -7 on the late line. But they did just play the Celtics super tough. And remember, everybody was in there for the Celtics in their game as well, except for Porzingis. Jaylen Brown went for 27 points in that game as well, man. So they will be missing his services in this one. I'd heavily lean towards Suns plus the 4.5. Wouldn't be surprised if they won this game outright. Let's go over to the streets of Houston in this one. Rockets laying 8 points at the house versus the Washington Wizards in this one. It's a tough game for me because I don't want to lay the points with the Rockets here. They probably should have lost to the Spurs. Now, this is something that we probably should do for the rest of the season. Just fade these tanking teams. Fade the teams that don't want to win. The Wizards they do not want to win a game. You see what I'm saying? So Rockets are obviously missing Şengün over there. He might be out for the rest of the season, but could only look towards Rockets here. I'm not looking towards the Wizards. It's a few too many points for me to lay with the Rockets here, especially without arguably one of their best players. Like, you could probably say that Şengün is probably the best player on the Rockets, probably the most important player. They have won 5 of their last 6 games. They've covered 6 of their last 7, but I do think that the Rockets are due to come down to earth, especially without Şengün. Didn't really show in that Spurs game just because Wemby's teammates just don't fucking like passing him the ball for whatever reason. In crunch time, they probably could have won that game. But the fact that it's going up against Wizards leaves me. I have no confidence in backing the Wizards, even getting 8 points versus a team with one of their best players injured. No confidence at all for me to back the Wizards in this game, guys. So Rockets are nothing for me, but there's a few too many points to lay for me with the Rockets without a full squad. Now let's go over to the streets of Chicago in this one. Hopped on the Clippers in this one, man. I mean, and it's one of those things that you should know. First off, number one, when a team is coming off playing a back-to-back, when a team is on a back-to-back and they're in overtime, I'm always looking towards the fade that team, especially when you're playing the Pacers as well, a fast-paced team, a team that you're running more in that game than versus other teams. Like teams like the Pacers, teams like the Kings, when you play those teams, you're running up and down the floor a lot more, maybe like an extra 10, 15 possessions than you would versus a regular NBA team, just because these guys like to run and gun. So this is a back-to-back, third game in 4 nights, fourth game in 6 nights, sixth game in 9 nights for the Chicago Bulls in this one. This will be their 6th straight game, 7th straight game in a new arena as well. They had a 4-game West Coast road trip, came home for 1 game versus Dallas, then went back out on the road versus Indiana. And then after this game, they have a chance to pick up 3 good wins. I expect the Bulls to win 3 games after this one, but I definitely expect them to drop this one. Now, James Harden is questionable in this one. Kawhi Leonard's probably not going to play, but this is still a bounce back J spot. This is a bounce back J spot for the Clippers. They're coming off 2 straight home losses, 2 bad home losses as well. Kawhi left in the first quarter in the last game, and they were probably doomed after that. They ended up losing by 18 to the Timberwolves. They were pissed off after that game. I think they take some frustrations out on the Chicago Bulls in this one. Clippers really had a chance to try to move up to the 3rd seed, and it's still not too late. But this is it's not a must-win spot because they're kind of locked into the 4th seed, but they can definitely get better than the 4th seed. But these West teams have all the motivation in the world, and I think the Clippers come out here and get the job done. The longer that you wait on this one, it's gonna the value is going to continue to be sucked out in this one. The line was at -4 and it was up as well at Fanatics. It was up at DraftKings. It was up at FanDuel as well. As soon as the game went to overtime, maybe like a minute in, people doing the same thing I'm doing. It went up to 5. Now I'm 5.5, and let's see, maybe even 6s. Let me see. It's still 5.5 at BetOnline for the Clippers. DraftKings has went to 6, and I believe a couple of other books have taken it off, guys. So I'm telling you right now, Clippers -6 is my cutoff for this one. It's probably going to continue to go higher than that. So it's really one of those spots to where if the line gets too high, then you kind of sort of missed out on the spot. But I do like the Clippers in this game. Wouldn't be surprised if they won by double digits. DeMar DeRozan just went off for 42, 44 points. He looked gassed at the end of that game. Now, Kobe White, he didn't play at all in overtime. If I'm not mistaken, I just watched like the last 3 minutes. I didn't see Kobe White at all in the last few minutes, but I do expect this team to be gassed, and the Bulls are an offensively challenged team. Like if DeRozan didn't go off for 44, there's no way that they beat the Pacers. I like the Clippers in this one. 6th game in 9 nights for the Bulls, back-to-back, coming off of an overtime win versus the Indiana Pacers. I think the Bulls run out of gas in this one. This could be somewhat like a scheduled loss, and I expect them to win their next 3 games after this. But this one, I think they're definitely dropping, and it's a bounce-back J spot for the Clippers in this one. I'll take the Clippers in this one. Like I said, I like it up to -6. That's my cutoff point for this game, guys. So let's get an edge up tomorrow, one time for the one time. Let's go over to the streets of Milwaukee in this one. Bucks laying 8.5 points at the house versus the Philadelphia 76ers in this one. You'd like to take the Bucks. This is their first game back at the house. Obviously, these guys are pissed off, and like coming off of they only went 1-3 on their road trip, so I'm sure that they're pissed the hell off. They have played a ton of road games in their last 10 games, 8 road games in the last 10 games for the Milwaukee Bucks, guys. So they're only 1-3 straight up and in against the spread in their last 4 games. But I do expect I expect them to win this game. I don't know if I want to lay 8.5. Something I figured out with the Bucks, they're going to struggle with teams that like to run and gun. The coach said that, and even some of the players said that as well. So this is a bounce back J spot for the Bucks. I'd lean their way 8.5. It's a few too many points for the team coming back home off of a 4-game road trip. But I would lean to the Bucks in this one. We know that the Sixers don't have nowhere near enough size to deal with the Bucks in this one. Sixers coming off a bad loss as well, where they lost that game by 27 points. They did just lose to the Bucks as well. February 25th, I believe there was the second game out of the All-Star break. They lost that one by 21. So the Bucks have shown that they can smack this Sixers team up. I'd lean their way in a bounce back J spot, but 8.5 is a little rich, to be perfectly honest with you. But it's to that point in the season where if you want to lay with some of these teams, you're going to be paying a premium in this game, man. But if there was a first game back at the house after their 4-game West Coast road trip, I'd lay the 8.5 with the Bucks here. But it's not necessarily a spot that I love to take, to be honest with you, but I would still lean Bucks here. I think tomorrow might be a favorite day, to be perfectly honest with you. Let's go over to the streets of OKC in this one. Thunder land 6.5 points at the house versus the Mavs in this one. Looking towards the Thunder in this game. I do like the Thunder in this one. I believe you can still get 6 right now at DraftKings. This is a Thunder spot for me. Now, the last time these two teams face off, the Mavs aren't a pushover. They can match up well with this team, but Jalen Williams is back in this game. He's not on the injury report, so that means he's back. He's the third most, maybe even second most important player for the Thunder over there. They're avenging a 35-point loss versus the Dallas Mavericks. Like, these two teams have only faced off twice this year. The first time, the Thunder ended up beating them 126-120. Then that second matchup in Dallas, they beat them 146-111. This is a huge game for the Thunder if they want to keep the number 1 seed. This is a SGA versus Luka MVP candidate type of game as well. I believe this game is on TNT as well. So huge step up spot for the Thunder here. 4th straight home game as well. They have the rest advantage. Obviously, this is the Mavs. This is a back-to-back 3rd game in 4 nights, 4th game in 6 nights for the Mavs as well. I think the Thunder are the right side in this game, guys. I would lay the points with the Thunder. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't expect it to come out at 6.5, but maybe that's even more telling that the Thunder likely take the Mavs to the woodshed in this one. You just hope that they're not giving up too many buckets inside. But I do expect the Thunder to win this game by double digits. They should be pissed off after getting absolutely smoked in their last game versus the Dallas Mavericks, guys. Last game up, let's go over to the streets of Portland in this one. Back-to-back spot for the Blazers, but they didn't have to travel anywhere. I could only look towards Knicks here. I do think that a lot of these favors are going to cover tomorrow. If there was one dog that I could see barking, would be the Phoenix Suns. But obviously it's tough to lay with the Knicks here on the road, and they're playing a late night sleepy spot as well. This is an East Coast team going West Coast, but they did just play 8 of their last 9 games at the house. But the Knicks are just that much better than the Blazers. Blazers, they're not serious about playing basketball. They're going to be in a back-to-back spot as well. If you do want to bet this game, I suggest you watch the Blazers and the Hawks game to see what's going on with that one. Look for any little injuries, any guys possibly turn the ankle, anything like that, man. So we know that Scoot Henderson is on a minutes restriction as well. So wouldn't even be surprised if he sat out the back-to-back. This is going to be the 6th straight home game for the Blazers. So that does bode well for them. 8 is kind of a lot to lay with the Knicks on the road, but they got OG Anunoby back. They're not really fucking around right now. Obviously, they lost too many games without him. So they're looking to move up in the standings. The Knicks are right now. This is a very winnable game. Laying 8 on the road with them is a little rich, but I'm not looking towards the Blazers in this game. They're not trying to win many more games. They're not really serious about playing basketball. And like I say, if you were really serious about betting this game, I would look to, and it's already going up to 8.5. I would watch the game versus the Hawks that's going on right now. The Hawks lead right now 29-17, but I would watch that game and see what you can learn about the Blazers and look for any. Now, if they get blown out, obviously things are a little different, but if it's a close game, starters have to play 35 plus minutes. It's going to likely be a fade spot for the Blazers. If they get blown out and get to rest everybody early, it's a little bit different. But I said I'd like to say I'd lean Knicks. It's Knicks or nothing for me in this particular spot, man. But time to get out of here, man. It was a quick little slate. It's really, I don't want to say an easy slate, but I do think the favorites will have some success tomorrow. The favorite that's in, it's really 2 favorites that have the rest advantage and are in off of bad losses and are in bounce back spots as well. I do like the Clippers a little bit more, even though they are on the road, but the Bulls coming off that overtime game and back-to-back after facing the Pacers, that's a fade spot for me there, and I think the Clippers get the job done, and I like the way the line's moving. Set 5.5 at Bet Online now. I like it up to 6. After 6, I do feel like you're going to lose a ton of value, especially when the line was at -4 while it was out, my guys. And then after that, Thunder -6. I do think they're a right side versus the Mavs. It's a little rich. I thought the line would be 4.5, but maybe you might even see somebody rest for the Mavs here. Back-to-back, 3rd game in 4 nights, 4th game in 6 nights for the Mavs, and the Thunder are avenging a 35-point loss as well, where they lost 146 106 to 111 their last time in Dallas. I'm sure they're going to remember that. I'm sure SJ wants to go bunkers in this game to show everybody that he's a better MVP candidate than Luka as well, my guys. So Clippers minus the 5.5, minus the 6 will be my cutoff, and then you can get Thunder minus 6 right now as well. Those are two favorites that I really have a ton of confidence in. Can't talk you off the Bucks, can't talk you off the Knicks, can't talk you off the Suns plus 4.5 as well, my guys. That's the show, man. It's all love. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Hit the like button. I appreciate you guys for being members as well. It's all love. It's all positive vibes. I'm not worried. Damn, it should just moved up to 7 right now for the Thunder, man. So just moved up to 7, my guys. Right now, it's still 6.5 at Caesars, but shop around, guys. And this was a spot that I mentioned on the show today as well. So that's one of those things to where if you're listening to the show, you should already know that I like the Thunder, guys. But it's all love. It's all positive vibes. Type "we will win" in the chat, and it's all positive vibes. Let's get this cash. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. We out, my guys. Let's go. Let's cash.